Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly are scheduled to go at it one last time at NXT Takeover 36 in the Undisputed Finale. And in AEW, Chris Jericho survives his fourth labor. Can he survive the fifth against MJF next week? We're going to talk about it tonight in the debrief. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out! What's up, everyone? Welcome to the debrief here on Sportskeeda Wrestling. I'm your host, Jose G, and next to me is the top Chico himself, Rico El Glorioso, bringing all the energy and all the great stuff that Wednesday night brings, which is usually AEW Dynamite. Another good show in the books, Rico. This week, we actually have the premiere of Rampage, and next week they're going to be in the United Center. A lot of stuff that's going to be happening in the next couple of weeks. But before we get into everything, how are you, broski? What's going on?
I'm doing well, just checking out a little thing called Raw and, creating some chance that, got started throughout the entire arena. That's what we
made the news. We made the news, bro. We made the news.
That's what we do, man.
Hey, guys, if you're just joining us for the very first time, let's sound off in the comments. Let us know where you're watching us from. Go ahead and type it in right now. Let us know what you thought of each show. We're going to dive into NXT and into AEW tonight. But before we do that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you're watching us on YouTube, watching us on Facebook, sharing your favorite wrestling group. Tag your friends in the comments section. Let us know they can join the conversation and talk about tonight's AEW and this week's NXT. Tons of exclusive content. We got an exclusive interview with Riddle right now on our YouTube with Riju Dasgupta. Fantastic interview. Check that out. And tons of exclusive stuff that's going to be dropping next week since we're going to be at SummerSlam. I, myself, and Rico Chino, we're going to be there live on the ground reporting from Las Vegas. So tons of stuff that's going to be coming down the pipeline, and you can only get it if you subscribe to our YouTube channel. So make sure you're doing that right now. I see we got tons of people already in the comment section. Josh McCann, Steve Chambers, our Sportskeeda regulars, thanks for joining, and make sure you are sharing tonight's show. Josh McCann, McManus, sorry if I butchered your name. Josh, Jericho is going to win. Steve Chambers is saying, what's up, guys? What's up, wrestling fans? Mikey Messier saying, RIP NXT. We'll talk about NXT and jump into that later in the show. Josh is watching us from Cincinnati. John Claiborne watching us from Milwaukee. And Mike Crescini watching us from Belgrade. So, guys, thank you again for joining us and tuning in to the debrief here on Sportskeeda Wrestling. Rico's tons of stuff happened tonight on AEW, man. We had the fourth labor of Jericho to close out the show. Chris Jericho going up against Wardlow with MJF at ringside. I don't know, for some reason, I originally thought he was supposed to be a special guest referee. Or am I crazy? Or am I just crazy thinking about that? Because I for sure thought he was supposed to be the special guest referee.
See, now you're just trying to stack the deck against Chris Jericho. That's just not fair, Jose, if they were trying to do something like that. But no, it's what we would expect from a typical, match of this caliber, this being the fourth labor of Jericho. If we knew it was going to be shenanigans. We knew MJF was going to get involved. We knew somehow Chris Jericho was going to win because he did, hitting the Judas effect on Wardlow, even after he took an F10. So it's all about this match that we're going to have against MJF and Jericho and him cutting a promo right afterwards. And he dropped a promo earlier in the night, too, where he did the whole movie stereotype thing where he's biting an apple. Because if you notice any movie that you watch, like whoever's biting an apple tends to be a bit of an a-hole. So he played it to a T, even perfectly, giving the apple to Wardlow and even calling him out. It's like, you need to get the job done, because last time that he was in the match, he couldn't get the job done. So it's adding a little bit of that tension, too, between MJF and Wardlow when they're eventually going to split. But, of course, this leading up to this big matchup essentially feels like kind of like a passing of the torch from one generation to the other, from Jericho to MJF. So I'm looking forward to, what story they are going to tell in the ring. And really, this feels like this is MJF's match to win because he's just in the head of Jericho. He just continues to prod and poke at the demo god himself. So we'll see if Chris Jericho has enough in the tank to put him in his place.
How do you think Jericho's going to react next week when he comes into his fifth labor with no entrance music and the inability to use his Judas Effect finishing move? What that's got to play something psychological in him, because Jericho is that guy that feeds off that energy off of the crowd. He loves it. He absolutely loves it when the crowd is roaring and singing along to his song. That's going to create maybe some psychological effect on him, unless the crowd in Pittsburgh or next week, they'll figure out and they'll just sing it a cappella.
Yeah, it's going to be a cappella somehow. And I'm sure it's going to be, kind of like when we saw Nakamura debut, and the crowd singing his song even after he's done with its entrance, and they're still singing Nakamura's entrance music. So it's going to be something like that where you can just feel the energy from the crowd backing him up. But it's not like Jericho doesn't have plenty of tricks up his sleeve other than a Judas Effect, one lion tamer, or Walls Jericho to be precise. So
you're absolutely right.
He'll find a way to get through it.
We got some more comments coming in here from our Facebook. Here, Justin Dodd is saying Jericho will lose to MJF and retire just to commentary. I could see Jericho doing commentary, but I think he may have another year or two in the bag. Maybe he can continue doing some stuff, putting over some younger talent. CRC, Christopher Ryan Cooper, Sportskeeda Loyal here, watching us, saying, you guys notice when Tony Schiavone's son took the stunner, after 2 minutes later, he was completely fine? He didn't sell very well. Yeah, I did notice that. Even the stomach shots he was taking, he wasn't very selling very well.
He's a rookie. He's green. He's learning.
And he also agrees that Jericho, that the fans will sing Jericho's theme song.
Yeah, but speaking about somebody that's still got one more run in the tank, how about one Paul Wight getting back involved in that segment that he just mentioned, where Tony Schiavone was in the ring interviewing QT Marshall, and this whole thing about, Marshall was supposed to give his apology to Tony. Nope, that's not what he wanted. He wanted an apology from Tony. But you know what? He was going to apologize. Yeah, he'll give him an apology for beating up his son, who happened to be at ringside. So Chris Schiavone got pulled into the ring. Just like you said in the chat, he didn't do a great job of selling the gut punches and the stunner. But this led to Paul Wight coming out, taking off the Rolex, getting the ring, and choke slamming poor Aaron Solo. So it looks like he is going to get his in-ring return, and it's going to be in AEW.
Yeah, it looks like that's the way. He got a really good reception to coming back into the ring. People popped for that choke slam. I thought that was pretty cool. I'm not sure if you noticed, but it looked like he put on a little bit more weight. Did you notice that? Like, he didn't look like he was a little bit more trim, but now that he's reliving that retired life, he put on a little bit more weight, but that's okay. He's the big show. He's allowed to do that.
Yeah, he's just getting eating some good food over here in Jacksonville, Florida, and now they're on the road, so he's trying even more food. So I'm sure it's like a little something. But I do like how in his music they still start off with well, and then like in your head, like you just say, it's the big show.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like it. It almost sounds like that Big Show theme song entrance, which is very interesting because I feel like they're going to start using like knockoff versions of the WWE theme songs, which is expected. It's okay. It's fine. I'm okay with it. Yes. We did have a really interesting opening to tonight's Dynamite, though. We had a trios match, the Elite, Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks going up against Dante Martin and the Sydal brothers. And, man, what a performance for Dante Martin, man. He blew my mind away tonight. I thought that was one of his best performances to date. The guy is only 20 years old. He was doing some unbelievable evasive moves as well as some offensive moves. Let's talk about that springboard hurricanrana he did to the outside, which was unbelievable. The guy literally did a vert standing up into the third row, jumped off the third row, landed into a hurricanrana. Multiple evasive maneuvers from Kenny Omega. Now, one thing if I'm going to have to nitpick about this match, the overuse of the damn V-triggers, man. Why do you have to use so many V-triggers? That's one of your signature moves, right? So use it as such. You're just using it out there just as a regular old move. It's lost its specialty. I don't feel like it's special anymore.
Whoa, Jose. Whoa, you're treading in controversial waters here. You're saying like a move that is somebody's finisher, like a Sweet Chin Music, could be overutilized in a wrestling match, super kick, and like not be an actual signature and just be constantly used throughout the match. That's
Cutter.
Jose. That's going a little bit too far. No, but it's the V trigger, man. You know, it's the setup to everything. But what I did like you said, Dante Martin showed out. The most impressive was him countering not once, but twice the one-winged angel, landing on his feet both times into a different move, only to once again, like you said, every single time he got hit by a V trigger, but it took the BTV trigger, all three of them landing it at the same time in order to set him up for the one-winged angel and giving the win to the Elite. But this was the showcase for one Dante Martin. So if you want to put somebody on the platform, you do it against three of arguably the best wrestlers right now in wrestling, in the best tag team and the best singles competitor, and have him hold his own. And just like you said, 20 years old. Like, the future is bright for this kid. You know, hopefully his brother returns soon so we can continue to see Top Flight, you know, really take flight against the Young Bucks. But man, he showed that what he can do by his own, man. He could be like the next, you know, Rey Phoenix, essentially. So hopefully they don't let this, you know, just be that one-off.
I don't even want to, dude, I don't even want to compare him to anybody else because the guy is just so innovative and so good and young that his name is going to be well known in the next 5 years. The guy is just that talented. Reading some of your guys' comments, Chris Aldridge, he didn't deserve to get the V trigger, Rico. He didn't, right? I'm telling you. John Claiborne also agrees. He's right. Damn right. Yeah, it's just too much. Guys, if you're just tuning in right now for the first time, make sure you are liking, engage with the show. Show off what you liked about the show. Or even if you didn't like it, hit that angry emoji, hit the heart emoji, whatever you want. Go ahead and interact with the show. Make sure you are liking, sharing, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. All right, man.
Real quick, though. Yeah, like Steven Chambers is saying here in the comment. Not only are you going to have a busy week, sir, with everything happening this next coming weekend, but Kenny Omega, he's going to be very busy because it was also announced earlier on that he is going to be facing Christian Cage at All Out for the AEW World Championship. But
which we kind of expected because we already knew that he was number one contender. Yeah. But this swerve I didn't see coming.
No, because right after the match, Christian Cage comes out. So you think it's just like a standard face-off, you know, building up to their match. No. Christian Cage came out. Jurassic Express came out, too, to back him up. But it turns out that on Rampage, not only are we getting the main event of Dr. Britt Baker, DMD versus Red Velvet. And also, by the way, the only thing we heard about your boy, Miro, was the one promo that is going to be him against Fuego del Sol for the TNT Championship. It's going to be in the middle. It's going to be the middle match because it looks like this is three big matches. So poor Fuego del Sol is not getting contracted. He's going to lose so bad to Miro.
But Fuego is going to be extinguished.
He's going to be, it's completely extinguished. It's game over for him. Lights out. But starting off the first ever episode of AEW Rampage on Friday nights, we are getting Kenny Omega and Christian Cage for the Impact World title. That's right. So he's finally going to be defending his Impact World title outside of Impact. It's going to be on Rampage. And not only that, he's also going to be defending his AAA Mega Championship versus Andrade at Triple Mania. So Kenny Omega is putting on a lot, even after he just had this match with Dante Martin. Like you said, he did that jumping off the top rope, like literally full weight onto Kenny Omega into that Hurricane Rana. And he's still going to have to defend his, two of his titles basically in the same week. So props to Kenny Omega. He's a busy man. But I'm going to have to disagree with Chris Aldridge. He is not dropping any of those titles just
yet. Reading some of your guys' comments, we got Zay Cruz watching us on Facebook. He's saying, does CM Punk and Daniel Bryan show up at Rampage or at All Out? I don't know how many times I got to tell CM Punk. Guys. Every single time. It has not been confirmed that he has signed with All Elite. Now, even though AEW keeps alluding to it and giving us these Easter eggs and these teases,
no crumbs.
Today we actually reported it earlier in the top story that CM Punk actually addressed that because he was recently on a podcast and they asked him about the August 20th date. And CM Punk is scheduled to have a screening for the third episode of the Heel series that's going to be premiering on Stars on the 15th. They're going to be showing a screening for one of the episodes at one of the theaters at an AMC in Chicago, which is probably going to be down the street from the United Center. I don't know. I'm not from Chicago. I'm just only assuming. But that kind of tied things up. He's like, I don't know. I'm supposed to be there and things like that. So it could be a ruse. I don't know. Everybody could be playing us. I don't know. It could be happening, right?
Riot. They're going to riot so hard if CM Punk does not show there at Rampage.
No, they won't. They'll be fine. Dale Munson, I'm watching this on YouTube. So when did Don Callis graduate from the Scott Steiner School of Mathematics?
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. It's like, it's a 6-man commentary booth. Like, wait, no, there's 4 of us. Oh, it's because I do the same amount of work as 4 people. All right, but that would make it 7. So, yeah. They stood on top of it. Good job on those guys. But even after we wound up having this match between Kenny Omega, the Elite, going up against Dante and the Sydal brothers, which even the Sydals held their own, but it was really the Dante Martin show. We've got Darby Allin with Sting, of course, going up against one Daniel Garcia and 2.0. It's what you would expect. Darby Allin got the win. So now this set up the tag team match that we're going to get next week. We're going to get Darby Allin and Sting on Dynamite going up against Everrise, a.k.a. 2.0. They are not even coming close to winning against Sting and Darby Allin. So,
what? You don't believe in 2.0? You don't believe in the 2, in the point, and in the O? No. Yeah, I agree with you. I think this is just going to be like one of those quick matches, especially for Sting. Darby's probably going to take the brunt of the beating there. Sting for the hot tag. He gets to win. We did also have a really good trios match. Best friends going up against the HFO. So his best friends in Yuta going up against HFO with Matt Hardy and Private Party. HFO getting the win. But what's up with Matt Hardy there at the end? Kind of just shoving one half of the Private Party into someone, and then he gets the twist of fate to get the win. Sneaky.
Yeah, it's because he's all by himself, man. He's obviously being selfish. So that's the story that he's telling with the Hardy family office. Poor Wheeler Yuta can't get a win on Dynamite. Apparently, he got his first win on Dark, and I didn't see it. Sorry, Wheeler. But he still is winless on AEW Dynamite. And looks like this feud is far from over between Best Friends and the Hardy family office. But speaking of tag teams, man, one tag team we need to see more in the tag team title picture are the Lucha Brothers. So we did have a little quick backstage segment. So there's no animosity in the Death Triangle, even with all the shenanigans that Chavo Guerrero.
See shenanigans one more time.
Shenanigans. But even though they're trying to, Chavo and Andrade are still trying to cause a little bit of tension, he assured him that he wants Andrade. And I do love that even he spoke Spanish. Pac spoke Spanish. Because Penta was about to go off in Spanish, and Alex Abrahente was about to translate. He's like, no, Alex, no entiendo. I was like, all right, Pac, I see you. But he tells him he wants them to focus on the tag team titles. Please give us more Lucha Brothers in the actual tag team division going for the titles in the Young Bucks. But that he himself is going to be the one that deals with Andrade. So expect to see that match very soon. But one match in particular, I did not see this ending happening the way it did. Chris Statlander reaffirming herself in the women's division, staying undefeated since she's returned from injury, getting the win over the former AEW Women's Champion in Nyla Rose. Clean, solid performance for Chris Statlander.
Good for her.
Establishing herself as possibly the top babyface in the women's division to really challenge one Britt Baker.
That's a good thing about Chris Statlander, though, because I like that character that she kind of portrays, like out of this universe, interdimensional being. And I think that's relatable. That could be relatable to some young women and young girls that watch the product. But I think Chris Statlander, she has a certain je ne sais quoi. You know what I mean? I feel like she could do big things in AEW, and her being number one contender, I think maybe it's Chris Statlander versus DMD at All Out. I would not be opposed to seeing that. Will it be time for her to get the title? I don't think so. DMD right now is red hot, man. That crowd in Pittsburgh absolutely loved her tonight. throwing the towels up for Britsburg.
Good promo.
Her parents are there. Her family was there. She's not gonna drop anytime soon. She's red hot right now.
Yeah, that's why I think this is the start of her push for Chris Statlander. That's why you can throw people like a Red Velvet at Dr. Britt Baker to just continue her reign. So it's something meaningful. It's not a short title reign for her. But I can ultimately see like months time. So not anytime soon, just like you said, like in a few months or even at the beginning of next year. That's when they're really going to be setting up, Chris versus Dr. Britt Baker, or even if they decide to do something that kind of akin to her storyline against Sheeta, where this time the roles are reversed. Where instead of her, going after Sheeta, like this time it's Chris going after Dr. Britt Baker. So it'd be a nice little role reversal, and it's a nice build-up. So I can see it happening, but just not too soon. You don't want to push it too hard just yet. Continue establishing Chris Statlander the way you're doing now. Make her that top babyface in the women's division, so that way it's inevitable. Like we have to see that face-off between her and Dr. Britt Baker and make something big out of it. So I'm sure they're going to do it right. They've been working on the women's division. You're doing good, AEW. You're getting there.
They're getting there. They're getting there. Absolutely. No, they're definitely getting there. Richard Rinaldi watching us on Facebook saying AEW was very good tonight. What respect they showed for Bobby Eaton. As you guys know, earlier this week, we did find out that professional wrestling legend Bobby Eaton passed away and left a big mark in the wrestling world, especially in the tag team division. What were your thoughts on AEW recognizing that this week?
Oh, I thought that was great. And somebody else noticed in the chat, like they were the first ones to do it, which is good. It's showing that it's not just WWE that has to do everything in respect for these legends of wrestling. AEW is part of this wrestling community too. So it's great to see them do something nice for him and being the first ones to really acknowledge and do it.
Really great match that we had here. It was the Good Brothers and Dark Order, Stu Grayson and Evil Uno going at it for the Impact Tag Team titles. And, man, that was a surprisingly really good match. Stu Grayson, man, keeps surprising me. Those two actually, I don't mind seeing those guys. Those guys, they've been there from day one. They were the original Dark Order guys. And I kind of miss that Dark Order, like the bad, mysterious, not this comedic babyface Dark Order that we got right now. However, when those two get in the ring, those two can go. And I've not been much in favor of them in the past, and I will admit to my errors. But man, they impressed the hell out of me tonight. Just, dude, Evil Uno doing an end of days. Yeah. Like, that was awesome. Stu Grayson doing a double Pele kick and doing it was all over the place. It was a great match. Unfortunately, we didn't have any a title change tonight. The Good Brothers did retain, but it didn't take away from how good that match was.
No, this was a nice reminder of who these guys were. These are the Super Smash Brothers. This is player Evil Uno and Stu Dos. Like, these were these guys that were hot in the indies, which is why they got acknowledged and brought into AEW. And you're right, they kind of got us, went a bit soft, SAWFT soft when they got over on being the elite. But stuff like this reminds you, like, don't take them for granted. These guys, when they're on fire, when they are in a tag team match where it's, the stakes are high, they could put on a good match. So we've seen Evil Uno put on a solid match against Miro, and he went solid. We've seen what Stu Grayson could do when they had the tag team battle royal. Like, they haven't highlighted these guys as much. And you're right. Maybe if they, were to turn heel again and have that edge to them, it would lead to maybe a little bit more, maybe taken more seriously. But then you put them up against two guys like the Good Brothers, like an established tag team, whether it's in WWE or New Japan or here now in AEW or in TNA. Like, this is another solid tag team. They hold their own against other solid tag teams, which is why they brought in here in the first place. So this was just a nice reminder of just how talented these two guys can be in tag team matches, especially the combination that they did. Because, again, they're Super Smash Brothers. Their whole thing is based on video games. So especially when they do the get over here, and then doing the belly to belly into the corner, like all the little things they did, like their greatest hits that we haven't seen from them in a while, and it was great. So it's nice to see they still hold them to that esteem. Just like, let's see more of that in the actual tag team division, and not just going just for a TNA Impact Championship. That's cool, but let's see that in the AEW Championship division too.
100% agreed. Victor Nash watching us on Facebook saying they even had Impact GM on commentary. Yes, he was on commentary, and that was refreshing to hear. I'm seeing a bunch of your questions, and the questions are scrolling by really quick. If I don't get to them, go ahead and put them back in. And if you're just joining us, make sure you're sharing tonight's show, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and tag your friends in the comment section right now so they can join us in the conversation. We did have, we already talked about the QT Marshall segment with
Jose,
with Wight. Yeah.
So do you see? Is there a possible chance that we see new AEW Tag Team Champions in the Jurassic Express? Can they defeat the Young Bucks? That's what Steven Chambers is asking.
Well,
yeah,
I don't know. I don't think so. I think they're probably going to want to wait until maybe All Out for that to happen. But that would be cool to see it on TV, happen on free TV, a title drop. I don't know. We know that Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy, they have a really good chemistry, but so do the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks have been on a real hot streak defending those titles right now. Of course, with a lot of assistance from the outside. But nonetheless, it's been a successful title run for them and a meaningful one. So I don't know. I don't know if you take it off the Young Bucks right now. I think the Young Bucks are running hot, and leave it alone. Leave on them for now.
Especially when you have those.
I want to see the Lucha
videos.
I want to see the Lucha Bros be the ones to take it away from them.
Please let it be either Lucha Bros or Pride and Powerful. But I like the backstage segment that they had, where they were doing the whole basketball thing that they did last week. Which, if you watch Being the Elite, that was actually their second take, and it didn't go the way it was supposed to. But because Nick made that behind the backboard shot into the basket, they decided to keep it. So it was great to see like some behind the scenes.
That was a foul.
And then they did it this week with the Jurassic Express, where Luchasaurus playing the role of the Kembe Mutombo and telling him, "Not in my house." So those little things I thought was great, but that's why they are such great heels to have these kinds of segments. So I don't see him dropping them anytime soon.
All right, S.C. Williams watching us on YouTube is asking, "Yo, Jose, what's up, bro?" Saying, "What's Lucha, bro? Will turn on Pac and join with Andrade because they need a mean streak. But what if Pac maybe hired some guy he knew from Dragon Gate?" That's a really good question, SC. If I'd had to pick who would turn on Pac, I would say Penta would probably turn on Pac, and he'd be the one to join. But they'll probably both end up turning on him. Jeffrey James Koch watching us here on Facebook is asking, AEW has to change the title on Friday night, right? I think we might have one.
The only closest one would be the Impact, and I still don't think that's the right call to make because it should be Moose taking that title off of Kenny. So I think this is going to be two and a half great title matches. But
I'm so glad that you clarified earlier for me about the AEW Tag Team Championship being next week.
Too much, man.
Friday. Because how are you going to fit 4 title matches on a debut 1-hour episode of Rampage on Friday? I'm like, that's not going to happen. But it's next week.
But then again, the match between Fuego and Miro does not need to be that long. So you can save a lot of time there.
Exactly. Guys, we're about to hop into the NXT review here in just a few minutes. Go ahead and hit that like button, sound off in the comments. Let us know what's your score for AEW this week. Best out of 10. Go ahead and sound off in the comments right now. We'll read them out loud. Rico, I'll go to you. What's your score for Dynamite this week?
Oh, man. I'm like a solid 7.5, 8. I just think, I think all of them were some really good matches. I mean, excuse me again. The trios match between Best Friends and Wheeler Yuta and the Hardy Family Office didn't do too much for me. But like seeing that big upset with Chris Statlander versus Nyla Rose, seeing Super Smash Brothers, the team from Dark Order have a solid match. Even seeing the Big Show, even though Chris Schiavone didn't sell it too well. Like there were some really good things that are setting up for, again, not only Rampage but for next week's Dynamite. So I'm gonna give it a solid 7.5, 8 stars.
We got John Claiborne on Facebook watching us saying he got an 8. He's given tonight's AEW Dynamite. Let's see what else. Victor Nash is saying take the Impact title off of Kenny on Friday at All Out. Winner takes all. That'd be good. I like that. Winner takes all. Let's see here. Stephen Chambers 7.5. Victor Nash a 10. A perfect 10 10-10.
It's because of Britt. I know it. Because it was a
Jeffrey
Britt's birth.
James, good old JJ, saying NXT. We're going to jump into NXT in a moment here in just a sec. George Russell gives it a 10. James gives it a 6. Dale Munson on YouTube gives it an 8. James Allward, 5.5. James, I think that's the lowest score you've ever given AEW.
Seriously.
Wow. Jeffrey James going off the rail and off the scale here. Britt Baker segment gets an 11.
There you go. Yeah.
John Claiborne, like I said, AEW was an 8. So looks like the numbers are hovering around. A lot of mixed messages here, but that's okay, guys. And again, interact with the show, like the show. We're about to jump into NXT this week. We're getting a lot more stuff getting built up for NXT TakeOver 36 going down on Sunday, August 22nd here at the Capitol Wrestling Center in Orlando. We did have a last-minute replacement on last night's NXT as we found out that Ember Moon was not medically cleared to compete, and we had Dakota Kai replacing Ember Moon going up against Sarai, who was undefeated but is undefeated no more. Dakota Kai had an excellent match with Sarai, but now things are really looking up for her heading into TakeOver, where she has to face Big Mommy Cool for that NXT Women's title. What'd you think about that opening match? Did you like seeing Dakota Kai beat Saray's undefeated streak so quickly, by the way?
And I know I mentioned that in our group text, like nobody's allowed to be undefeated anymore. Like they don't want to have anybody
except in AEW. Except in AEW.
It's only in AEW and WWE or NXT. Nobody can stay undefeated because you don't want to have like, oh, they're still undefeated heading into this match. They cleared that stage for everybody between the last couple of weeks. I still felt like it was a little too early to pull that on Saray. I get it. They want to show that Dakota Kai is, a legitimate threat for Raquel Gonzalez, and she could be if they decide to bring Raquel over to SmackDown or Raw. But my heart goes out to Ember Moon because it feels like every time that she's on a roll and she's building momentum, like ever since she had, lost the NXT Women's Championship, like she just hasn't been able to stay, like have a more meaningful run than when she had like the tag team titles for just a little bit. Like this was an opportunity for her to show out now that Shotzi is with Tegan over on the main roster, and then she's not eligible to be in this match. It like sucks, and I get it. And they want to put Dakota in there to make her look strong. I didn't see it happening this way that quickly. I would have assumed if anything was going to happen next week, like say Saray beats Ember and then Saray versus Dakota, then I get it.
Yeah,
but at
least the thing though,
they're setting up
the thing with Saray. Here's the thing with Saray. They're trying to set up Saray like Asuka or Io Shirai, and I don't think she's up to that caliber. She's good, don't get me wrong, but she ain't no Asuka. When Asuka was in there, she was killing women left and right, just undefeated for 2 years. She had to relinquish her NXT title. That's how dominant Asuka was. All right. And I don't think you can ever bring another Japanese superstar and make an Asuka. You can't. It's like she's one of a kind.
It's like they're, we had like Shida and Rio in AEW. I feel Sarai is more like Yuka Sakazaki. Like she's incredibly talented in the ring, but you're not gripped by her, by like the appearance of Asuka or by
absolutely right.
the showmanship of Io Shirai. Like she's immensely talented technically, but she doesn't like grab your attention. That's the only like knock I have on Saray. So maybe they'll find a way to give her an edge and make her the Black Lotus or something like we saw in Lucha Underground when it was her and it was Io and Kairi when they showed up there and attacked Penta. Like maybe they can find a way to give her an edge that way. But right now, right now you're just fodder for the number one contender to go against Raquel Gonzalez, and I think that's gonna be a great match. Like you said, it's Big Mommy Cool, versus the Heartbreak Girl, the Heart Kick Girl, in Dakota Kai. Christopher CRC here is saying, "Where in the world is Asuka?" We were asking that all Monday, but that's
all right, man. Let's talk about the telenovela that is Indy Hartwell and Dexter Lumis, better known as Index, going on their first date. Now, I'm surprised that Johnny Gargano even allowed this in the first place, since he beat Dexter Lumis clean last week. Therefore, lover or loser, he should have lost her, right? But no, last week we saw that Indy said, F that, ran into his arms, jumped and pounced on him, made out with him in the middle of the ring. This disturbed a few people, mainly Wade Barrett. I'm all about it. I think this is the most entertaining segment of NXT. All three segments, the beginning, the middle, and the end. Dexter Lumis shows up with some dead flowers. Johnny Gargano's in his face. You better have her home at a decent time. And when I say a decent time, 10 p.m., no later than that. So, like, that was fun, like, having Gargano play, you know, the funny father role and Candace, the mom. Then they're at the restaurant and they're eating.
Sitcom situation at the restaurant.
Yeah, sitcom situation at the restaurant.
Fake mustache.
Oh, my God. Johnny Gargano comes in with a fake mustache, fake wig. You know what? There's a lot of people that are not going to like this, and I get it. This is like, you know, this comedy part, these comedy promos. I absolutely loved it. I thought Johnny killed it. Indy Hartwell, oh, my God. Did she say a big salad or a baked salad? I'm still trying to figure that.
I think she said big. It's just her accent, I guess.
A baked salad? A baked, because I'm going to, who has a baked salad?
I just love that they did all of these scenes without Dexter saying one word. Like, this was a true, like, a lesson on how you would write and direct like a one episode sitcom basically with this. And even when they smashed the cake in his face and then having it, like, it's okay, I always make room for dessert, and then licking the icing off of him. Like, this whole thing was entertaining, man. I love what they're doing here, and they still wound up having a great date, even though we didn't get to see the finale of it, because, you know, as she went in for the move, she made the first, you know, another move on Dexter Lumis, covering the camera as she probably gave him a nice big old kiss again. So this isn't over, man. The telenovela isn't over, so we get to see more of this.
Who proposes here? Do you think it's going to be Dexter or it's going to be Indy? You think Indy's going to be the one, right? Indy's going to
like, the only time he'll ever say a word is
so
like,
entertaining.
I do, or yes. Like, that should be the one word he ever says is yes.
I absolutely love it. I think this is great. Y'all can roast me if you want. Y'all can hate on me. I absolutely love this storyline. I think it's entertaining and it's hilarious, but it's all good. Yeah, Victor Ness is saying, yeah, Dexter should have ducked from that cake. Yeah, like you knew what was happening. He should have known what was going to happen, right? He definitely should have ducked from that cake.
One thing I didn't know was happening was the NXT proper debut of Ilya Dragunov. He made his way from the UK back over here to Florida, to the States, and, man, cutting a promo on Walter, because, of course, they're having their match for the NXT UK Championship at TakeOver 36, where it rightfully should be, in front of a lot more eyeballs, because I think that is easily going to be match of the night. It's going to be hard to top. I know we got other matches that we'll talk about in a little bit, but these guys put on a stellar match the first time. They're going to do it again. But before he could get Walter, one Pete Dunn, former NXT UK champion, came out to confront him. And that wound up leading to our main event of the evening, which is, again, it's like a dream match. It's one of these UK dream matches you wouldn't expect, but we got to see it, you know, in NXT, and not just NXT UK, but we got to see it here on our NXT to close out tonight's show, 1 week removed from the go home show to NXT Takeover 36, which I thought was awesome.
I thought that was a really good match from a technicality standpoint, especially from all the counters that Ilya did during the match, being able to get out of Pete Dunne's finisher right before he even executed it. I thought that was amazing. Being able to get out of all the finger and joint manipulation with just a turn and a twist. Like, the guy was just really talented and really proficient at the technicality of what he was showing inside that ring. And he matched Pete Dunne when it came to that technicality and showing what he can really do against someone of such a high caliber like Pete Dunne. So my hat's off, bro. Walter's got a handful going up against him coming NXT 36, man.
We need to figure out what the over-under is going to be on chops during that match, because in the first one, there were all hellacious knife-edge chops. There's probably going to be another at least 30 chops in this match, and both guys are going to leave this match chest and backs just red and bloody from all the
Speaking of chops, so I think Eddie Kingston was recently up in AEW in Chicago, and he was fighting. He was going up against one of our boys, Fred Yehai, and they were having a chop off, and somebody recorded that chop off, and every chop you just saw this cloud of mist go into the air, and it just got bigger with each chop. I highly encourage you guys to go check that out. Eddie Kingston versus Fred Yehai, AEW. I thought that was awesome. Jeffrey James here saying on Facebook, he proved that you can cut a promo without perfect English and still kill it. He speaks with passion and makes it believable. Absolutely. He's talking about Ilya Dragunov. That was actually the first time. I don't really watch NXT UK because I have so much other wrestling to watch. But this was actually my first time listening to Ilya Dragunov drop a promo. And even though that his English isn't perfect, like I was expecting a much more deeper Russian accent, like the ones that are portrayed in the movies. No, this guy's clearly more European than that. And, but yeah, I think his English, I didn't have any problem with his English. His English was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jose, you didn't have any issues with his English? Do you have any issues with the match that we're going to be getting at TakeOver 36? Because after LA Knight just squashed this poor guy named Andre.
Yeah.
We had Ted DiBiase return into the ring. And, of course, he was trying to back up poor Cameron Grimes, and he deserves better. But LA Knight made an accepted challenge, choosing to defend his $1 million championship at TakeOver 36 against Cameron Grimes with the stipulation that if he wins again, this time it's Ted DiBiase that's going to have to be LA Knight's butler.
Man, I love LA Knight. I love Cameron Grimes, but I'm not loving what they're doing here with Ted DiBiase. I've expressed this multiple times in previous weeks. This is not the Ted DiBiase that we know and love, okay? Why are you coming out and giving a pep talk to this guy? Why aren't you trying to bribe him? Why aren't you trying to bribe, LA Knight? This is not the heel that we're all accustomed to know from Ted DiBiase. It's weird. It's just so weird to me to see Ted DiBiase play this type of role. And it almost feels like it's a foregone conclusion, right? That Cameron Grimes is going to be your next $1 million champion. But no, I don't think so. I don't think so. It's going to be L.A. Knight and still your $1 million champion come NXT TakeOver 36. But again, Ted DiBiase, I don't think he was needed for this. I just don't like what they're doing with the character. It stands against everything he was back in the day. They just made him the $1,000 man instead of the $1 million man.
Oh. Deflation. I just feel like like you said, like if they're gonna do it right, it needs to be the swerve. It needs to be that LA Knight paid off Ted DiBiase to help him retain the title, and that way, as that match closes out, he's there sitting, standing next to him, and Ted just starts just doing his laugh as Cameron Grimes once again fails to win the $1 million championship. But we'll see. Before we get to one of the other matches added to NXT TakeOver 36, I want to talk more about that. Just going over some of the other matches. In the semifinal match of the NXT Breakout Tournament, Odyssey Jones defeated Trey Baxter, kind of like we expected. He is going to face the winner of Duke Hudson and Carmelo Hayes. So, again, these are the top three guys we kind of assumed were going to come out of this tournament. So it's good to see, them getting to this position. We did get to see Odyssey Jones. So in one of the dark matches we saw at Monday Night Raw, Odyssey Jones defeated Austin Theory, that's why he hasn't been on NXT. And I found out earlier also that the other dark match that happened right before we got there was our boy Keith Lee going up against our other boy Chico Adams. Here in Orlando in the Central Florida area. So they didn't forget about Keith. He just happened to be in the dark match. Unfortunately, that made me a little sad. And then we also got to see a new side of Boa. So with the whole Tian Sha, it was always about Xia Li. But of course, I guess she's still removed from, previous situations. We got to see Boa actually show out, and he defeated poor little Drake Maverick, who I'm surprised he's still there after everything that's happened recently. But yeah, it looks like they're giving more of an edge to Boa, and even Mei Ying stood up, and it looks like she might be getting involved sooner rather than later. But man, the segment that we got to talk about leading up to this match for NXT, you talked about it at the beginning of the show. Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly 3. Too big to have just one simple match, Jose, because we're going to get 2 out of 3 falls. We're getting the 3 stages of hell, Jose. And what are those 3 stages going to be?
All right, man. So Kyle O'Reilly got to pick the first stipulation, and he just wanted a straight-up wrestling match. Just a one-on-one. Just one-on-one. Adam Cole found that was way too predictable, and of course you would want to do that because you want to try to up one me, but you'll never be able to one-up Adam Cole, baby, which means that the second stipulation for Adam Cole is a street fight. And William Regal had the chance to name the third stipulation after both guys started going at it. Some hands were laid on each other. Some things happened. By the way, shout out to Parker Boudreaux being one of the security guards, finally making his NXT TV
baby
debut
Brock.
there. Little baby Brock over there. He's not that baby, man. He's actually quite big. he's quite a big dude. So I can't wait to see what Parker Boudreaux brings. But yeah, dude. So those guys started going at it. Security started holding him off. Nice little picture, close up of both of them getting held off, kind of like what happened before Stand and Deliver. So then William Regal announced that the last match will be held inside a steel cage. So this, I'm assuming this has to be a 3-hour takeover, right? Because that match alone is gonna take an hour.
It should.
It should take an hour.
And it's one of those big 5 pay-per-views too. So like it would make sense if they go a little bit longer. But it seems they've already set up most of the cards. It's still 5 matches because we got the Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly. We have Ilya versus Walter. We have Samoa Joe versus Karrion Kross.
The North American title's not on there yet, but it's probably going to be Swerve versus Escobar.
Oh, but we already have Raquel versus Dakota for the NXT Women's. So as of now, there's 5, but it feels like they need to add that, especially after the promo, which you guys brought it up in the chat, where they burned the Lucha mask. So he talked about, how disrespectful it was for him to reach in his mouth and pull out the grill. But, hey, that's just disrespectful. And then he brings out the Lucha mask, and then he throws that into the, dumpster, into the burning barrel. So there's some, it's starting to get a little chippy there between Santos and Swerve. So you would think that TakeOver 36 would be a great platform, but if they're trying to keep it a traditional TakeOver, man, like this should be one of the few times, especially since it feels like this is the last good TakeOver we're gonna have for a long time. I feel like they should kind of go all out. If this is Triple H's last hurrah before it becomes the truly developmental brand, and they move Kyle and they move Adam, and they move any of the established guys to bring up all of this developmental talent to make it the new age FCW, they should go all out. Add an extra 2 matches, add an extra hour.
I think they should. For it. They need to add the tag in there, and they need to add in the North American title. Every single title on the line. Every single one of them.
Yeah, we had the little video package with MSK making fun of Imperium, so let's have that match. Just put all of them on there. Put all the belts on the line.
Guys, sound off in the comments. Let us know what your score for this week's NXT was. Rico, I'm going to go ahead and give you my score for this week's NXT. Actually, I'm going to give you both because I didn't give you my AEW one. My AEW, bro, I'm going to give it about a 7.5. A lot of the matches, some of the matches were good, especially that trios match at the beginning, the main event. Everything kind of in between was just kind of okay, it wasn't too bad, but it wasn't really captivating for me. For NXT had a lot more build-up for our TakeOver, especially with the face-to-face with Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. Again, what really made the show for me was this whole Index comedy soap opera telenovela thing going on, right? So with that being said, I'm also going to give NXT a 7.5 because they're building up, and it should be a lot better in the go-home show next Tuesday. So we'll see. What about you? What do you think of NXT this week?
Yeah, I'm have to agree. I felt this week I put it on par with AEW, given the same 7.5, 8, just because there were some solid matches. Like I said, having Dakota step in for Saray, even though I didn't prefer that ending. We did get to see Gigi Dolan also get some screen time, even acknowledgement from Mandy Rose. She kind of took credit for Gigi Dolan getting the win over her opponent Amari Miller. But we continue to see a great NXT Breakout Tournament, just like we expected. Like, we know we're going to see an amazing performance from Odyssey Jones versus either Duke Hudson or Carmelo Hayes, whoever it's going to be. So, yeah, they're just putting the right places in order in place for Takeover coming up. And I did like the little addition of Boa and showing that it's not just one-dimensional with Xia Li when it comes to Tian Shaw. Give him an edge, too, and have it in Mei Ying getting involved with the Mist, which thank you for bringing up in the chat. That's how he wound up getting the win over Drake Maverick. So, they're starting to set up, but the huge thing for me is like Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly and Ilya Dragunov, because if you guys haven't done it before you watch NXT Takeover 36, watch their first matchup between Ilya Dragunov and Walter. I can't wait to see that match in front of a crowd, because all of those chops, all of the high spots that they had was in front of nobody. That was an empty arena when they had their NXT UK Championship match. It deserves to be in front of a crowd. It deserves to be on this high of a platform like a Takeover, especially the one for SummerSlam. So I'm truly excited to see this match coming up. I think that's going to be the match of the night, could be contender for match of the year. So I think that kind of brought it up to par with AEW, was having Ilya show up, drop that promo, and that end segment where Walter came in and he tried to attack Ilya, but Ilya fought him off, and he ended the show holding that NXT UK title that's eluded it for so long. So that gave the bump that put it right on par for AEW, with AEW for me.
Jumping into your guys' comments here, we have John Claiborne giving us an 8 for NXT this week. Stephen Chambers, 7.5. George Russell also gives us a 7. Victor Nash giving it a 6.5. And jumping into some of your questions here, CRC, Christopher Ryan Cooper, asking, how does NXT stay on TV if they're making these changes? Well, here's the thing, Christopher. They have a contract with the USA Network and NBC Universal. So they're bound to that contract. So they got a TV deal. So the TV show is not going anywhere, but we can expect, because it's been widely reported, that NXT is looking to get repackaged, rebranded, new intro, new logo. Everything's going to happen, which leads to this next question by Chris Aldridge saying, is Triple H leaving? No, I don't think he's leaving anytime soon. But it almost feels like Vince McMahon is like, "This, oh, that's your toy? You can't have it anymore." You had
fun with it. It's mine now.
It's my toy now, pal.
I paid for it. It was my money that bought it, so it's mine.
It was mine.
Like, really, Dad? Really?
You know why I bought it? Because it's such good shit.
Such good shit. Yeah, it's
James
it's gonna be a
Allworth
sad
saying
time, man.
7.5 because they have better old style wrestling. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. Just like with anything, we all have to adapt to change. One thing's for certain, though. NXT is not the same NXT it was 5 years ago. It's not the same NXT it was 3 years ago. Yeah. It's gotten different. It's gotten a little bit different. We'll just have to wait and see what they bring us. It's I'm just gonna urge you guys, be patient. Don't jump to the gun and be like, WWE sucks because they let go of your favorite wrestler and because this guy got cut and never got TV time, didn't get pushed properly. Sometimes the company's got to do some tough calls, but sometimes when you do some things like that, you guys will get even better stuff later on. So just be patient. But remember, we're all here to enjoy this. We're all here to watch wrestling and enjoy it. Mm-hmm. So just make sure when you're watching wrestling, tell them, Rico, what do they got to do?
Gotta enjoy it. Gotta enjoy wrestling.
That's right, guys. That's right, guys. Subscribe to our channel. Make sure you follow us on all of our social media. YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, SK Wrestling _ SK Wrestling. Make sure you do that right now. We'll see you guys next week on the Debrief. For Rico and Glorioso, I'm Jose G. We'll see you guys next week. Good night.